stipple, S-T-I-P-P-L-E, stipple, is a technique where you're using a pointerly technique is the other word for it. Pointerly is the professional term that I know, but when I came to Westchester High School, the art department professors use the word stipple. So I have adapted the term stipple. I feel like the classic word from a more formal classic art education, fine arts education, uses the terminology pointerly. Pointerly is a term that was used when arts were really starting to be discussed and written about. It's a more formal art term. Okay, so I'm starting to try to lay down just dots. What I tell my students is please try to make sure you don't get these lines. They look like fish, little tiny tadpoles. And you don't want tadpoles, you want dots. It takes some time because you actually have to pay attention to put the dots down where there is white paper. So like if I were to just do like this and leave it kind of random, I would consciously start coming back and filling in the dots where there are none. Look at here, there's like a lot of white spots here, and you can't really get it all the way dark if you've got white spots. Now, on the other hand, you really want to do it via pointerly because it looks very different. You can tell if somebody came in and started just coloring it like that. The other thing you don't want to do besides the fish is you don't want to go like this and kill the paper. Look at the quality of the dot that you get. It's very much not the same quality. You want a very fine quality because when you do a whole picture with a stipple or a pointerly technique, it is incredible because it's all these tens of thousands of dots. And people really tend to admire great work. That's why there are the great masters. And there's a lot of other artists that have focused on techniques like this. M.C. Escher is one of them, and his work is phenomenal because of the precision. And really pointerly or stipple gives you an ability towards precision in a different sort of way. And what's really interesting about the time changes between, say, M.C. Escher and today is it really reflects something that the children understand today, and that is pixels. So the more pixels per square inch, the better the picture. It's really no different with pointerly or stipple. So if you want a very high quality picture, you would have a lot of stipple, little points, marks, little dots. And obviously the less ones, you could do these little fish, you could do these giant dots, but you'll never get a truly artistic quality. So I have it a little bit dark here, and I've been very precise about making my little dots dark enough to be able to see and close enough together so that it creates a depth of darkness. Now, as I move out to the light, I'm going to make a very conscious effort to make less dots per square quarter inch. And you know what else? I'm going to make sure that my dots are really, really super light. So as I approach what's just the little white spot, I blend into it. So we've got a couple of things going on here. Number one, you've got this dark where you've got your deliberate pencil marks like this, deliberately set down. And then you've got this kind of whimsical, ethereal kind of concept going on here. And I have to try and start to blend the two and merge the two so that I get this range of darkness to lightness. This is a lesson I teach every day to every class, every year, over and over again at the beginning of the school year. And so creating a podcast, I'm hoping, will save me hundreds of hours. Here I'm going to deliberately set down some dots because it's around the outer edge and they should be connected almost so that it has that dark range. I'm getting lazy here and they're starting to look a little bit like fish, so I'm going to take them out. And I want a good quality. I'm actually going to try something, not to try at home. I just want to see something. You can really see the difference in softness of the lead when I do that. Some of them are, some of the little dots were much darker because the lead is softer, and some of them were lighter because the lead is harder. So that was interesting. And you can begin to see now how I'm really starting to get some of that lighter to darker or darker to lighter. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes patience. So it's really starting to come together. Now all of the different ranges have connected, so I'm going to keep following through with that. Each time I reapproach this picture, I really start around the outer edge and really make an effort to fill in all of the white spots. And then feather that out immediately. And you do it again and again. If you think about it, it's no different than what we first did. We started once and we went back over it again. We pulled it out another block, and then we went over it again and we pulled it out another block, and then we went over it again and pulled out another block. Well, it's exactly the same. We're sitting here and we're passing through the edge here to make it nice and dark, and then we pull that out to feather it out. So it gets lighter and lighter until it disappears. So you should be feathering out until it disappears, just like this does, just like this does, where it goes into the white. try to keep your hand off your paper as much as possible so that you don't smudge it. There is something you can do to the paper. You could spray it with clear hairspray. You could spray it with fixative, and it will lock in the graphite, so it helps keep the paper from getting clean. But more importantly, you can't smudge the graphite around on the paper with your hand and make it so that everything becomes a kind of gray tone of white, so that it's somewhere in these middle ranges as opposed to, you know, all the way white or towards the end.